you seem very passionate about going into conflict areas quite soon after the end of violence or some sort of political instability and trying to quickly prop up the private sector in particular. How important is that in sort of post-conflict environments?
Well, I think, when you look at the countries in conflict and that are moving in a post-conflict area, the probability for them to go back into conflict if no substantial economic and social progress are made is quite high. So therefore,
there's a cycle of violence, essentially.
Exactly. Well, you have a lot of people that have not been doing things or have been at war for years and years, and you need to bring back these people to society to a certain extent.
And jobs do that.
Exactly. Job growth, economic growth. And therefore, it is quite important to move very fast at the end of the conflict to support generally newly elected governments. We have to understand that sometimes if you look at the amount of money which is spent in order to bring country from conflict into a democratic area with election, a lot of money is being spent. And you can start to see, donors feel sometimes that they've played their role with the election and then they can move on. On the contrary, this is where you need to continue to support, because the first 2 years post-conflict are, I think, the most critical ones. So we at IFC, we've made the decision to move extremely fast after the conflict.
How exactly? Give me an example of how you go in to a place like Abidjan and start working.
Well, the situation is a difficult one, and you can assume that the economy has been in a difficult stage for the past almost 10 years. I think the schooling system, the social system has been highly affected. Then post-elections, we have had almost 5 months of where the economy was totally stopped. The banking sector has been shut down. Then it has been nationalized with people, forcing themselves into banks. And so, it's a little bit of a chaotic situation. And security is also affecting operations. So it's one of the toughest cases we are experiencing. Sad that it's in my country, but the challenge for us is really to really quickly move in and try to support the private sector, which again is going to...
How do you do that?
Well, the first thing we're going to do, for example, when security will allow us, I think, to move in the country, is to really to work with the banking sector first. I think they will need first probably to recapitalize and see if there's a way for us to provide resources, IFC, for example, but also other development financial institutions working along with us. I think working together is going to be critical, because I think the support would have to be massive.
Ivory Coast is one example of a model that you try and fix. Southern Sudan is an entirely different kettle of fish, isn't it?
On one hand, it's a difficult situation because you're starting from scratch. On the other hand, it's a terrific opportunity because first, you have an opportunity not to make the mistakes that all the other countries have done in building their administrations, in setting up their private sectors, in using their natural resources. So I think tremendous opportunity. Southern Sudan, there's almost no capacity at all, whether it's in the private sector or it's in the public sector. So I think in Southern Sudan, you probably will look at an approach that would consist first in really setting up capacity at the government level. And I think, institutions like IBRD, the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, our sister at the World Bank Group, would have a key role to play there. But I'm sure also other countries on multilateral will support this. And there's also capacity to be provided at the private sector, bringing the informal sector into the formal sector, getting people to understand accounting rules, and really trying to get them to learn how to present a business case, to get a bankable project. I mean, the list is quite long, quite excited.
Yeah,
no, because I think it's a tremendous opportunity. As I said, it's a huge challenge. But in terms of an opportunity, I mean, for people that are going to work on this country, it's going to be quite interesting. If you do have a government that is committed, for example, also to good governance, then I think, sky is the limit for a country like Sudan. So yes, I'm quite excited.